Ever wondered how some gardeners achieve incredibly vibrant, thriving plants without expensive products? The answer might be simpler and older than you think. Join me as I share the compost tea hack my grandfather taught me, a time-tested method that delivers unbelievable results and will revolutionize the way you garden. I still remember the first time I walked through my grandfather's garden as a child. While other yards in the neighborhood struggled with yellowing leaves and stunted growth, his tomatoes towered like skyscrapers, his roses bloomed with colors so vibrant they seemed almost unreal, and his vegetables grew with a vitality that defied explanation. The secret wasn't fancy fertilizers from the garden center or expensive soil amendments. It was a simple brown liquid he brewed in an old 5-gallon bucket behind his tool shed. My grandfather called it his garden gold, but what he was actually making was compost tea, a liquid extract packed with beneficial microorganisms and nutrients that transformed even the most tired soil into a thriving ecosystem. This wasn't some newfangled gardening trend, it was traditional wisdom passed down through generations of farmers and gardeners who understood that healthy soil creates healthy plants. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity and effectiveness. While many gardeners struggle with nutrient deficiencies, poor soil structure, and plants that seem to plateau despite their best efforts, compost tea addresses these issues at the root level, literally. It's not about masking problems with quick fixes, it's about building a foundation for long-term garden success. Compost tea is essentially a liquid extract of beneficial microorganisms and nutrients derived from high-quality compost. Think of it as creating a concentrated dose of soil life that you can easily apply to your plants and garden beds. Unlike synthetic fertilizers that provide a quick nutrient hit but do little for soil health, compost tea introduces millions of beneficial bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes that work symbiotically with plant roots. The science behind this traditional practice is fascinating and explains why my grandfather's garden thrived year after year. These microorganisms improve soil structure by creating aggregates that allow for better water infiltration and air circulation. They also form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, helping them access nutrients that would otherwise remain locked in the soil. Many of these beneficial microbes actually produce natural compounds that suppress harmful pathogens, reducing the likelihood of plant diseases that can devastate gardens. Perhaps most importantly, compost tea feeds the soil food web, the complex network of organisms that make nutrients available to plants in a slow-release, easily absorbed form. Let me dispel a common myth right away. Properly made compost tea doesn't smell bad or create a mess in your garden. The brewing process, when done correctly, creates an aerobic environment that produces a pleasant, earthy aroma reminiscent of rich forest soil. The key is maintaining adequate oxygen levels throughout the brewing process, which prevents anaerobic conditions that could create unpleasant odors or harmful bacteria. The ingredients for this garden transformation are surprisingly simple and accessible. You'll need mature, well-finished compost. This is your primary ingredient and the source of all those beneficial microorganisms. The compost should have a rich, dark color and an earthy smell, indicating that the decomposition process is complete. Avoid compost that's still hot or has visible food scraps, as this indicates it's not fully mature. Non-chlorinated water is crucial because chlorine kills the very microorganisms we're trying to cultivate. If you only have access to chlorinated tap water, let it sit in an open container for 24 hours to allow the chlorine to evaporate, or use dechlorinator drops available at aquarium supply stores. The final essential component is an aeration source. This could be an aquarium pump with an air stone, or even a simple stirring method if you're willing to mix the brew several times throughout the day. The brewing process itself is remarkably straightforward. Fill a 5-gallon bucket with non-chlorinated water, leaving about 6 inches of space at the top. Add approximately 2 to 3 cups of mature compost. You can either add it loose or contain it in a mesh bag for easier straining later. If you're using an aquarium pump, place the air stone at the bottom of the bucket and turn it on. The goal is to maintain constant aeration throughout the brewing period. Allow the mixture to brew for 24 to 48 hours, maintaining continuous aeration if possible. You'll notice the water gradually darkening and developing that rich, earthy aroma I mentioned earlier. If you're stirring manually instead of using a pump, mix the solution vigorously for several minutes every few hours. One critical point my grandfather always emphasized was timing. Compost tea is most effective when used fresh, ideally within 4 hours of brewing completion. After this window, the beneficial microorganisms begin to die off or go dormant, significantly reducing the tea's effectiveness. This means planning your brewing schedule around when you intend to apply it to your garden. For a soil drench, strain the tea through cheesecloth or a fine mesh to remove any large particles, then dilute it with an equal amount of water. Apply this mixture directly to the soil around your plants, soaking the root zone thoroughly. Foliar application offers another powerful approach, especially for addressing nutrient deficiencies or boosting plant immunity. Strain the tea more thoroughly for this method, ensuring no particles that might clog spray equipment remain. Dilute the tea at a ratio of 1 part tea to 2 parts water, then apply it to leaf surfaces during cooler parts of the day, early morning or evening, to prevent leaf burn and maximize absorption. The transformation that follows consistent compost tea application is nothing short of remarkable. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice increased vigor in your plants, deeper green foliage, stronger stems, and more robust root development. Flowering plants often produce more abundant, longer-lasting blooms, while vegetable plants typically show increased fruit production and improved disease resistance. My grandfather's compost tea recipe represents something larger than just a gardening technique. It embodies a philosophy of working with nature rather than against it. This approach recognizes that gardens are ecosystems, and healthy ecosystems are self-sustaining and resilient. By focusing on soil health and biological diversity, we create gardens that become more productive and beautiful with each passing season. Remember to subscribe to Soil Sorcery Studio for more traditional gardening wisdom that can transform your growing experience. Try this compost tea recipe in your own garden and share your results in the comments below. Your success stories inspire other gardeners to embrace these sustainable, effective practices. Together, we're building a community of gardeners who understand that the best solutions are often the simplest ones, passed down through generations of those who truly understood the magic of healthy soil.